Hi, today is Wednesday, August 30th, 2023. Tomorrow is the last day of August 31st. Then on Friday is the start of new month, September. Today, as with yesterday or for the past several days, I felt miserable a little bit and also ostracized a little bit or missed out. Of course, those feelings are just my personal feelings. But at my office, there are some stupid people and they are ignorant and they just despise me for my seniority. Yeah, I'm the second oldest person in my team, and the team leader and other colleagues think that we are really old and also stupid. Some people think that old is stupid or old equals stupid. What the heck? I would say fuck you, and they are bad. Speaking of the harmony and living together and coexisting, that's true that we have very solid protocol with the network, internet. So we need to learn more from the internet in our daily living with other people. So let's find out what kind of harmony exists in the network, in the internet, and it is called socket. Some colleagues said many Koreans pronounce socket as a socket, which is not incorrect, but as we speak or as we learn American English, we should follow American pronunciation or the Canadian pronunciation, which is a socket, right? So let's find out what a socket is. Today we discussed one of my colleagues mentioned about or asked what the socket is, and I said, well, that's the similar to the electric socket on the ceiling, and it's the logical port. I just guessed. I learned about a socket long time ago, and I forgot about it, so it just come out of my mind, and I was correct. So I found out today that WebSocket is the basically the IP address and the port that is open for communication. So it's just pair of IP address and the port number. It is called socket, right? Every connection has two sockets. So let's keep looking into it. And I am trying to read this beautiful English article to practice English. Yes, I practice English by reading an English article each day. The article could be of 20-minute to 30-minute length, sometimes 1 hour, but usually it's 25-minute length. If it's, for example, less than 25, such as like a 30-minute read, I would just pull off another article from the internet and try to read it. Before like 1 year ago, I used to buy a book, English book, at the global bookstore in Seoul, and I try to read like several pages in one reading at the rooftop of my office. So whenever I go to my office early on, I turn on my laptop, then go up to the rooftop and try to read English material each day, like a walking on the rooftop in a circular fashion. Then while doing that, I try to read English article. But these days, internet, smartphone. So I just walk around usually my home and try to read any English article that I could find on my smartphone from the internet. So today I pulled off WebSocket. Let's find out what WebSocket is and how it works. Okay, so by the way, I work for Korea Telecom. I am a KT employee. So KT stands for Korea Telecom, the number one carrier in Korea. And I would like to have a position inside my company where my English can contribute enormously for my company's growth. And also I would like to increase my competency by working in an appropriate position where I could maximize my competency while achieving my organization's goal and also contributing to my company's success. So here we go. What is WebSocket and how it is different from the HTTP? HTTP and WebSocket both are communication protocols used in client-server communication, or CS, right? In client-server communication, not server-client communication, it's a client-server communication. HTTP protocol. HTTP is unidirectional, where the client sends the request and the server sends the response. Let's take an example. When a user sends a request to the server, this request goes in the form of HTTP or HTTPS. After receiving a request, server send the response to the client. Each request is associated with a corresponding response. After sending the response, the connection gets closed. HTTP and HTTPS requests establish the new connection to the server every time, and after getting the response, the connection gets terminated by itself. Really? Let me read this one more time. Let's take an example where a user sends a request to the server. This request goes in the form of HTTP or HTTPS. After receiving a request, server sends, I don't know, it's grammatically wrong, right? The server sends the response to the client. Each request is associated with a corresponding response. After sending the response, the connection gets closed. Interesting. HTTP or HTTPS request establishes the new connection to the server every time, and after getting the response, the connection gets terminated by itself. HTTP is a stateless protocol that runs on top of TCP, which is a connection-oriented protocol. It guarantees the delivery of data packet transfer using the three-way handshaking methods and retransmits the lost packets. HTTP can run on top of any reliable connection-oriented protocol such as TCP/SCTP. When a client sends an HTTP request to the server, a TCP connection is opened between the client and server, and after getting the response, the TCP connection gets terminated. Each HTTP request opens a separate TCP connection to the server. For example, if the client sends 10 requests to the server, the 10 separate TCP connection will be opened and get closed after getting the response and feedback. HTTP message information encoded in ASCII. Each HTTP request message composed HTTP protocol version 1.1 and 2, HTTP methods, get, post, etc., HTTP headers, content type, content length, host information, etc., and the body which contains the actual message which is being transferred to the server. I don't know why the author was wrong in the singular and plural matchup between the subject and the verbs. That's strange. HTTP headers varies. I don't know, HTTP headers vary from 200 bytes to 2K bytes or 2000 K bytes, right? 2000 bytes in size. The common size of HTTP header is 700 to 800 bytes. When a web application uses more cookies and other tools at the client side that expand storage features of the agent, it reduces the HTTP header payload. HTTP connection, client server, request, response, connection terminated, gigs for gigs, a computer science portal for gigs, WebSocket. WebSocket is bidirectional, a full duplex protocol that is used in the same scenario of client-server communication. Unlike HTTP, it starts from WS or WSS. It is a stateful protocol, which means the connection between client and server will keep alive until it is terminated by either party, client or server. So stateless, stateful, stateful, stateless, 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 stateless. HTTP protocol is stateless, while WebSocket protocol is stateful. Right? All right. After closing the connection by either of the client and server, the connection is terminated from both ends. Let's take an example of client-server communication. There is the client, which is a web browser, and a server. Whenever we initiate the connection between client-server, the client-server makes the handshaking and decides to create a new connection, and this connection will keep alive until terminated by any of them. But with HTTP, all the response ends with automatic of itself termination, mandatory termination. When the connection is established and alive, the communication takes place using the same connection channel until it is terminated. This is how, after client-server handshaking, the client-server decides on a new connection to keep it alive. This new connection will be known as WebSocket. Once the communication link establishment and the connection are opened, message exchanges will take place in bidirectional mode until connection persists between client-server. If any of them, client-server, dies or decides to close the connection is closed by both of the party. The way in which socket works is slightly different from how HTTP works, definitely. The status code 101 denotes the switching protocol in WebSocket. WebSocket connection, client-server, request, handshake, WebSocket. When can a WebSocket be used? Real-time web application, gaming application, chat application. When not to use WebSocket? Chat application, gaming application, real-time web application. Real-time web application uses a WebSocket to show the data at the client end which is continuously being sent by the back-end server. In WebSocket, data is continuously pushed, transmitted into the same connection which is already open. That is why WebSocket is faster and improves the application performance. For example, in a trading website or Bitcoin trading, like a stock trading, security trading, for example, in a trading website or Bitcoin trading, for displaying the price fluctuation and the movement data is continuously pushed by the back-end server to the client end by using a WebSocket channel. Interesting. Gaming application. In a gaming application, you might focus on that data is continuously received by the server, and without refreshing the UI, it will take effect on the screen. UI gets automatically refreshed without even establishing the new connection, so it is very helpful in a gaming application. Really, it makes sense. With HTTP, all your characters will die in no time. Gaming application. Let me read this paragraph one more time. In the gaming application, you might focus on that. What the fuck? Data is continuously received by the server, and without refreshing the UI, it will take effect on the screen. UI gets automatically refreshed without even establishing the new connection, so it is very helpful in a gaming application. Chat application. Chat applications use WebSockets to establish the connection only once for exchange, publishing, and broadcasting the message among the subscribers. It reuses the same WebSocket connection for sending and receiving the message and for one-to-one message transfer. Chat application, gaming application, real-time web application. When not to use WebSocket? WebSocket can be used if we want any real-time updated or continuous streams of data that are being transmitted over the network. If we want to fetch old data or want to get the data only once to process it with an application, we should go with HTTP. Old data, which is not required very frequently or fetched only once, can be queried by the simple HTTP request. So in this scenario, it's better not to use WebSocket. It's better not to use WebSocket. I don't know. It's better not use WebSocket. You'd better not. I don't know. It's better not to use WebSocket is more correct one. When not to use WebSocket? WebSocket can be used if we want any real-time updated or continuous streams of data that are being transmitted over the network. If we want to fetch old data, if WebSockets can be used if we want any real-time updated or continuous streams of data that are being transmitted over the network. If we want to fetch old data or want to get the data only once to process it with an application, we should go with HTTP protocol. All data which is not required very frequently or fetched only once can be queried by the simple HTTP request. So in this scenario, it's better not to use WebSocket. Note, RESTful web services are sufficient to get the data from the server if we are loading the data only once. Differences between HTTP and WebSocket connections. WebSocket connection and HTTP connection. WebSocket is a bidirectional. HTTP protocol is unidirectional. Communication protocol, or what? Bidirectional communication protocol that can send the data from the client to the server or from the server to the client by reusing the established connection channel. The connection is kept alive until terminated by either the client or the server. Almost all the real-time applications like trading, monitoring, notification services use WebSocket to receive the data on a single communication channel. All the real-time applications like trading, monitoring, notification services use WebSocket to receive the data on a single communication channel. All the frequently updated applications use WebSocket because it is faster than HTTP connection. The HTTP protocol is a unidirectional protocol that works on top of TCP protocol, which is a connection-oriented transport layer protocol. We can create the connection by using HTTP request methods after getting the response. HTTP connection get closed. What the fuck? The HTTP protocol is a unidirectional protocol that works on the top of TCP protocol, which is a connection-oriented transport layer protocol. We can create the connection by using HTTP request methods. After getting the response, HTTP connection gets closed. There are too many ungrammatical points here. The HTTP protocol is a unidirectional protocol that works on the top of TCP protocol, which is a connection-oriented transport layer protocol. We can create the connection by using HTTP request methods after getting the response. Then, after getting the response, the HTTP connection gets closed. Simple RESTful application uses HTTP protocol, which is stateless. When we do not want to retain a connection for a particular amount of time or use the connection for transmitting data, an HTTP connection is slower than WebSocket. Note, depending on your project, you have to choose where it will be WebSocket or HTTP connection. So HTTP and WebSocket connection is layer 5 session protocol, right? Layer 1, physical layer. Layer 2, data layer, send the data. Layer 3 is the exchange rate, TCP network layer. Network 4 is transport layer, TCP or UDP. Layer 5, session layer. Layer 6, presentation layer. And layer 7, application layer. Basically, application layer belongs to the applications that you use. HTTP, mail, Hotmail, web browser. Presentation is basically syntax, grammatic, like ASCII code, Korean language, Chinese language. Session layer, it's whether a WebSocket is used or HTTP is used. So today, some companies' table order or tablet order experienced WebSocket failure. I guess the software engineer made a mistake. WebSocket, from the table. When customer sits at the table, they put in the food order, then they swipe their credit card on the terminal, and the signal is routed to the server, tablet order server somewhere in the cloud, and that credit card transaction data is rerouted to the credit card company, and once the transaction is approved, the data arrives back at the tablet order server, and then the tablet order server as it manages all the tablets and the notification tablets on the kitchen counter, they sends the complete transaction information to all the terminals, all the tablet orders, and so on. So it gotta be a real time, right? It cannot be just one transaction. It gotta be a real time transaction. And so that communication has to be open all the time. But when the communication channel closes, then problem occurs, right? So obviously the high order and other T orders, they use web sockets. When they use web sockets, traffic increases, and the faster data channels are quite important. So that's why my company encourages a gigabit internet service, not just 100 megabps, but 1000 megabps line is preferred for the restaurant where the tablet order is used. KT's tablet order system is called high order, and if you want the trade with KT, you need to contact me because I could help you as I'm a KT employee, and also I used to sell the service to my restaurant customers. Also, we have serving robots. There's waitress robots. There's robots serving foods and bussing around the tables to collect the used dishes. So I am the key man, point man for your needs in Korea. Also, if you want to import KT products back into your country, you also need to talk to me, and I'll help you out. No premium, because I'm a KT employee, the number one carrier in Korea, and also I am salaried. Salaried person doesn't take a premium, right? Or in Chinese, it is called dai cheng, right? Dai cheng or chi cheng. I don't receive that kind of a premium because I'm a very honorable KT employee. Well, thanks for listening. There was no any particular English words, expressions that I would like to go over and memorize. Many of the English sentences riddled with grammatic errors, but the author made a really good point. He drove home about WebSockets and the HTTP protocols, which are layer 5 protocols. I really appreciate the author's effort and help, right? gigs.org. And the WebSocket uses // or WSS : : Thanks for listening, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.